All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so very much for joining us today once again for this movement tutorial. So we have a few things on tap today. One, we're going to continue this concept and keep looking at different ways to enter actually now the QDR. So up until this point with the QDR, we've entered it from the crawl position. We'll see how we can enter it from a squat position. So we'll take a look at that, and otherwise we're going to put together a little mobility routine. And these mobility routines that we put together, I think was kind of the same, similar how we did it last week as well. This is what to expect from the movement classes. So on Wednesday, this is kind of the format that we've been using. We'll show you a little bit of like a little flow routine, kind of prep the body, get us warmed up, and then move into some different mobility and strength drills. So that's kind of, again, what we're going to do here today. It's kind of what you could expect if you were to come again to the Wednesday movement classes. So let's get started. And again, we won't take the time initially here to prep the wrist, but please on your own prep the wrist. This is pretty much before every tutorial that we do. We're touching the floor most of the time. There's many other wrist prep tutorials specifically on that, or if you've watched them before, we have done quite a bit of that stuff. So please get the wrist warmed up at least a little bit. And then we're going to show you this 3 different variations now of the QDR, but we're going to look at it from entering it from the squat position. So I will indeed start off in that squat position. Now, I'll give you the first variation, and again, please, I'll give you 3. You want to get very, very comfortable with the first progression before you head on and advance to the next one. So from the squat position, I'm going to reach to my side, and notice the hand does not come down very close, but it extends out a pretty good amount. So I'll extend right arm out, left arm out. Again, QDR, it's about getting that right elbow into the hip and that side body, and then I'll press up, carefully coming back to my initial squat position. I'm going to reach my left hand far to the left, reach out, and again trying to get hip and elbow, press up, come back to your squat position. So this starts to build that strength. And if you again are not yet familiar, if you didn't watch some of the other previous tutorials or last week's, this idea in the QDR is to get this elbow here right in the hip, so right where the pelvis, the iliac crest, that bone, we want to try and get the elbow right there. And that might take a few weeks to really start to feel like every time you get it in that same spot, and it might take time to get comfortable in that position. Totally normal. So that's our first progression. If you notice, both feet stayed on the ground, and in essence I almost performed just pretty much like a push-up to the side. So placed when I did on the right side, the right arm takes more of the weight. So that's one of the keys here. You want to feel like one of your arms has more of the weight than the other one. So here's a second progression that you could advance into, and it involves one of the feet and legs to starting to lift. And now that I'm thinking about it here, we're going to scoot forward just a little bit. That foot might be hitting the wall. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to start off again. It's that same reach to the right and the left. Hand touches down. I'm going to continue again. Same thing. Hip and elbow meet. I'm going to extend my left leg back. It elevates up off the ground and it reaches behind me. Not necessarily straight up into the air, but again, it's going to start to reach behind me. I'm kind of tapping the wall here. And then I would bring my foot down, press myself back to my initial squat. I'll reach this hand, elbow into hip. This foot begins swoop to reach, and the left foot stays down. Foot would return, press again mostly with the left palm on that one. So one more progression. The both feet at this point would lift. All right, so I would reach right hand out, left hand. Left foot goes. I'm going to reach it out, and then I'm going to see if I can get my right foot to lift up off of the mat. And again, I'm trying to have the feet around the same height as one another. So we're not looking for this where one foot is high, one's super low. We're trying to get the feet starting to go on that same level. Right foot down, left foot down. Press yourself back to your initial squat. We'll give it one more shot. To the left side. So again, both feet are going to go. I'll reach left hand. Right foot begins to reach back. Left hip and elbow meet. Maybe the right foot reaches so much that your left foot begins to lift off the ground. And again, we're looking for about similar height. Left foot touches down. Right foot, press yourself back to your squat position. So the only real difference from this and last week's tutorial with this QDR work was the entry position. I feel like it just takes some time. Once you get more comfortable with the QDR, the way you enter it, it'll feel, I think it gets a little bit more familiar that you can kind of just, regardless of your entry point, you can find that shape that you've spent so much time in. So again, you can play around with entry points. And again, these are just two basic ones. It gets pretty advanced as you see some of the advanced movers on Instagram and all. So give that one a shot, the QDR work. I would recommend, as far as repetitions, to try 12 total. So 6 left, 6 right. I would alternate. And again, we'll try 12 total of those QDRs. So at this time, if you want to press pause, go back, do that work, and then press play again. We are going to now move into our mobility work. The first thing I will demonstrate is called an inchworm. And we're going to perform this inchworm. There's two things really want you to be mindful of. One is the lower back. We don't want the lower back to arch whatsoever. So we really want to have a strong tuck of the tailbone. That will make sense as soon as you see the shape. And then I want you to think handstand. So I want you to really try and press the floor away, and we're going to see shoulders come up by ears. Let's show you what the inchworm looks like. And we can add a little bit of a spine drill in there as well. So I'm going to see if I can tuck the chin. I'll round down one vertebrae at a time. Get a nice little stretch out of it here. And then we'll walk the hands out. Now I want you to stop in your high plank and just take that mental note that this is generally, or the distance I would walk my hands out. I want you to really tuck your tailbone. All right, glutes can even go high in the air, and then you're going to walk your hands out considerably further than you normally would in a high plank, whatever distance that is for you, and then press into the floor, shoulders by ears, and then really focus on tucking the tailbone. We're going to try to hold for 15 seconds. I'm going to use a mental clock as I kind of talk here. But again, really tucking the tailbone, and I'm pressing into the floor. I'm trying to stay active, and I want to feel strong in where the armpits and that shoulder region are. Right? That's about our 15 seconds. We're going to walk the hands carefully, all the way back in. You can round up one vertebrae at a time. Take a moment, shake out the head, and then we'll go right into our next one. All right, we got 2 more to go. We'll tuck the chin, round down. Feels good on the spine. Let's walk it out. Walk it out. All right, you felt it once before. We're going to go right through now to our high plank into our elongated position. Tuck the tailbone, press the floor away. Again, I'm using a mental clock. If you have a metronome, very helpful at home. Otherwise, press. Really try to tuck the tailbone hard. You're going to feel abdominals, but again, very active in the shoulders. All right, so make sure it's not painful. And then we're going to walk the hands all the way back in what felt like it was about 15 seconds. We'll walk everything back in. We'll round up one vertebrae at a time. Nice. We'll shake out. One more inchworm. Again, really use your abdominals strong, staying strong in the shoulders. Then we're kind of in this quasi handstand or hollow body shape. So we really want to get strong in this position. So we'll walk the hands out one last time, much farther than your normal plank. Tuck and press the floor away. Tuck the tailbone. All right. And we can be pressing palms away and down into the floor as well to be very active. And again, that armpit region. We'll hold for a few more seconds. And then slowly and carefully walk it back in. Careful. All the way back. We'll round up one vertebrae at a time. All right, we did 3 sets of 15 seconds each. So that was our first round of our inchworms. We'll now move on to single leg bridges, but elevated. Maybe many of you at home have done single leg bridges. However, when we elevate the grounded foot, they become considerably more challenging. And some would even say way more fun. Who knows? We'll see what happens. All right. So again, we have a plyo box here. We can use a step at home, a stair, and you can absolutely use a yoga block as well. This plyo box is on its lowest height, which is 14 inches. This is a quite challenging height in my opinion. So again, you can place your right heel on a yoga block instead of this, or on perhaps a stair at home, or like even a little step stool or something like that. Anything that elevates this foot and is stable. Your arms would come down by your side. And it is, if you notice, like my heel's down, my foot is flexed, it's going to be quite challenging to even have your foot down in this position when we're on the floor. So if your foot lays flat on the surface, it's fine, but it doesn't have to happen. It's totally fine. I'm just going to keep my heel there the whole time. So the arms will be down by my side. I'm going to really drive my right heel down into the floor, into the box. It's going to bridge my hips up to the ceiling. I'll take a 3-second hold at the top, and then I'll slowly lower down under control. As soon as my butt, glutes tap down, left heel taps down, I'm ready to press right back up into the next one. I'll hold for about 3, and then we'll slowly lower down. Touches down. Press through right heel. There might be a possibility of some cramping happening, all right, in the right hamstring. This might happen. If it does, it's okay. Maybe give a little stretch, see if you can go right back into it. It will take some time. Eventually, hopefully, the cramping will go away. That's 5. We're going to try 3 more. And at any time, you can always adjust the distance that heel is and adjust your distance of the glutes from the box. You can always play around with that. Here is 6. And I cannot stress enough, 2 more, how this extra range of motion, so the fact that we're elevating it, it really adds a lot of challenge to the exercise. This is our 8th one. We'll slowly lower down. Whoo-wee. If you'd like to get a nice little hamstring stretch here, we are going to stretch out the hamstrings in just a moment. If you'd like to flex the foot back, that might feel really nice. Now let's get that left hamstring as well. So we'll move just over to the other side. Again, maybe we're using different things here at home. I'm going to place this left heel close to the edge of the box. Palms plant down. I'll extend the right leg out. Do a little maneuvering. Perfect. All right, here we go. All right. So, again, find a distance that works for you as far as the glute and the heel, how close they are. I prefer it a little bit closer as it makes us really lift up even a little bit more. So, let's get this stuff started. When you're ready, we'll drive left heel down, bridge the hips up. 3 seconds. Slowly lower down. Again, it feels like it's in a little bit of an awkward spot. We'll just change slightly. We'll press up for 3, 2, and 1. All the way down. That's 2. Nice. Press through the heel. Slowly lower down. Glutes tap. Press your hips up. Slow control on the way down primarily. Lift up. I believe that's 5. Slow on the way down. 6. We'll try 2 more. Hang in there. Press up. And again. The height makes a big difference. So again, you can always go a little bit lower if it's too much. Last one. We'll press up, we'll hold, press the left heel down, and then slowly bring it down. You might feel really nice to stay here for another moment. Flex the left foot back, maybe even pull the leg in towards you a little bit. We are going to now, though, move into an active hamstring stretch. And I have to imagine, so we have quite a few movement tutorials up there at this point. I don't even know, maybe getting 30, maybe even more, 20s, 30. Perhaps. So I don't know if we've done this before, but a popular one that I really, really love, and we do this quite a bit in our movement classes, is an active hamstring stretch. Also beautiful decompression properties for the spine, but it's called the Jefferson curl. But there's a lot of benefits beyond what I said there a moment ago. So we will grab a kettlebell, and for this one, I'm going to place the box on a bit of a higher height. I think we should be good here. So a few keys here. One is we're going to try to round the spine down one vertebrae at a time. Now, we do this often in our forward folds. If you come to our yoga classes, I'll often say like round up and round down. So we will take that approach with the spine. Protect your lower back. Be mindful. This is not the type of exercise that we want to put on autopilot and just go through and not become very aware of what's going on inside the body. So in particular with this one, I would say become extra aware and just mindful. I don't want to use the word cautious, but maybe a little cautious, but just mindful. Mindful of the lower back. If it's too much on the lower back when we round down, and again, we'll have the weight in our hand, you might feel like it's a little bit discomforting on the lower back. If that's the case, then I would recommend putting a slight bend in the knees, a micro bend. But that's going to be up to you. And I would just say, again, over time, start to just become very, very aware of the sensations going on inside, particularly in the glutes, the hamstrings, and really anywhere down the back of the legs, as this is a very active posterior chain stretch, particularly hamstrings. We'll do a quick little demo here. The first thing is I really like to bring my toes not only to the edge of the box, but off the box. Now, some of you, if you are quite tight in the hamstrings and your forward fold, if your forward fold is here and you're still plenty distance from your feet, you might not even need a box. The higher the box, the more open your hamstrings are. So again, we might need the box at this height. It might not make a difference. So we're going to grab the kettlebell like so. And again, my tippy toes are off the edge of the box. I'm going to start with as best posture as I can. So standing up really nice and tall, and I like the feet to be about hip width distance apart. I'm going to tuck my chin and round down one vertebrae at a time as best as I can. Now I'm going to keep the legs straight, but if I feel too much strain in my lower back, I'm going to put a bend in the knees. I'm going to allow the bell to go as far down as it can. All right, wherever it stops, it stops. And I'm going to just stay here and breathe for 10 seconds. So I just want to hold, and you might feel like your hamstrings are under a bit of tension. Please realize this is nothing more than a forward fold, but we're weighted. All right, so because I have the kettlebell in front of me, my hamstrings, posterior chain, they're taking that load, and they are on so that I don't fall forward on my face right now. All right, again, that's my mental 10 seconds, or at least my talking 10 seconds. I'm going to round up one vertebrae at a time. Now, it is in the rounding up that you really, really might feel hamstrings and, again, the back of the body there getting a nice stretch. And I'll return with my head and neck forward and straight. I'll go right into my next repetition. Tuck and round down. We're going to do 5 repetitions with 10-second holds on each of them. Notice the bell stays as close to me as I can, and I allow gravity to just kind of take it down towards the floor. Now, if you get to the point where the kettlebell does touch the floor, well, then you need a higher box. All right, so it just depends. All right, so we're going to take a few breaths here. And you can take any micro adjustments in the body to help, again, protect the lower back. But again, it might not feel it all. It might feel really nice and a nice big stretch. I'm going to round up one vertebrae at a time, keeping the weight in the heels. So it does feel like I want to engage a little bit of a nice little glute squeeze. So again, let the hamstring muscles, the glutes turn on, again, to help protect the back. Listen to the body. It'll tell you what it wants to do. We're going to tuck the chin. This is our third one. Round down, round down, round down. Nice and slow, nice and slow. At the bottom, again, maybe some decompression of the spine. Allow the weight to pull the upper body down, but stay grounded here in the feet, maybe in the heels. So maybe a nice active stretch in the hamstrings.
Just take a steady long inhale and exhale in out through the nose. Try to relax here on the way down. We're going to, again, keep the weight in the heels. We're going to round up, up, up. And again, maybe a little glute squeeze. We don't want to feel this again, like the lower back's hurting. Maybe just a nice little stretch. As far as the weight, now I've done these, quite a few times, so I feel quite comfortable with this 25. I generally like to I use an Olympic bar, so a 45-pound Olympic bar can also be used. It's just more convenient if I am doing these at the gym. You can absolutely do them with maybe a 10 or 15-pound weight to start, and then maybe progress towards maybe like a 25 or maybe 35-pound weight, but just slowly over time. Just progressively load little by little. I'll round up. I believe this is going to be my 5th and final, but who knows? Maybe we're on 6 or 4. We're going to tuck the chin around down. One vertebrae here at a time. And we'll hold for about 10 seconds. So, I wish this box was a little bit bigger. Feels like my back really wants to really stretch a little bit more. But again, a very nice active posterior stretch, where again, perhaps in yoga, maybe it's a little bit more about passive stretching. Again, it just depends on your approach. All right, let's round up one more time. Round all the way up. Excellent. We'll carefully place the bell back down on the box. So if you notice too, I like to combine both of those, right? The one is the hamstring strengthener when we're pressing and pressing hips up towards the ceiling. So the single leg bridge, then follow it up with this Jefferson curl. Yeah, you want to reverse the order, it's absolutely fine. The idea, the focus is trying to stick with the posterior chain. So something that strengthens and then lengthens the same area. And really, again, the Jefferson curl too is not just about flexibility, it's about strengthening and becoming more mobile. So both stretches, but just very different. And for instance, one's more of a straight leg, one's more of a bent leg. Very different movements, but hitting those same muscle groups, same areas. All right. So, and then we showed you the 3 different movements there. So right now, as you went through all those with me, hopefully, if you would like to try one more round, that was all one round. 2 more rounds. So starting first with that QDR, 12 repetitions again total on the left, 12 on the right, wherever you were working at. If you're comfortable there, then advance, but please do not advance until you get comfortable with the previous regression. So if you like, try 2 sets more, so 3 total is what we're going for, of the QDR work. Then it would be the inchworm. The inchworms protocols, we're asking for 3 repetitions at 15 seconds each. All right, so you can try 2 more sets of those inchworms, 2 more sets of the single leg bridges. For the single leg bridges, we did 8. If you can look in the 8 to 12 zone, depending on how challenging you choose. Again, you don't have to use a box this high. You can always use a yoga block or just a single leg bridge on the floor is absolutely fine. 2 sets of those, followed by 2 rounds of the Jefferson curls. All right, and even if you don't have a kettlebell at home, something at home that has some weight to it to try to pull the body forward. You can even hold on to just like the round plated weights as well. So again, another option for you. So that's what we were working on this week in our movement class, among some other things as well. So if you're ever interested in stopping in the class, feel free to reach out to me. Please sign up in advance if possible. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Open also for yoga. And hopefully, guys, try to just keep moving, stay active during this holiday season. I know we can kind of move away from our regular routine and practice. Try to just stick with it as best you can. All right? Any other questions or comments, feel free to reach out. But have a go at this work. It's a nice little, again, mobility routine. Maybe that coupled with some of the other routines. Maybe you're doubling up on this weekend. All right? Who knows? Have a great one. Peace, namaste. Later, guys.